flying through the night, NASCAR dreams within our sight. Asphalt heroes in the fight, peacemakers gaining light so bright. Revving it up, feel the pace, speed hounds in the race. Feel the thrill, feel the chase, victory is our holy place. Throttle down, no time to waste, in this high-octane haste. Every corner, every taste, leads us closer to first place. Under lights, the engines scream, this is more than just a dream. Through the asphalt like a beam, racers' hearts with fervor gleam. In this game we find our might, push the pedal like the night. With each lap our spirits flight, racing on with all our might. Trucks flying through the night, NASCAR dreams within our sight. Asphalt heroes in the fight, peacemakers gaining life so bright. Revving it up, feel the pace, speed hounds in the race. Feel the thrill, feel the chase, victory is our holy place. Thrill the place, thrill the place. Throttle down, no time to waste, in this high-octane haste. Feel the thrill, feel the chase, victory is our holy place. Throttle down, no time to waste, in this high-octane haste. Every corner, every taste, leads us closer to first place. Throttle down, no time to waste, in this high-octane haste. In this high-octane haste, every corner, every taste, leads us closer to first place. Under lights, the engines scream, this is more than just a dream. Through the asphalt like a beam, racers' hearts with fervor gleam. In this game we find our might, push the pedal like the night. With each lap our spirits flight, racing on with all our might. All our might. Thrill the place, thrill the place, thrill the place.
Friends for Pets!
Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in as we get ready to rock and roll here this evening from the beautiful Circuit of Americas here this evening. The Circuit of Americas here, the COTA racetrack here this afternoon. A little road course action here for the HCK Beagles Truck Series as it is the Is It Over Yet 30 presented by Ridge Powersports here this evening from COTA. Man, this is going to be a great show. It's going to be very, very fun. It's going to be very interesting to see really what these drivers are able to do, how they're going to be able to navigate not only having to turn left, but also having to make some right turns out there on the racetrack as well, as not very often we head to these road courses, but here this week, we got a few of them, not only in this series, but a couple of the other series. So drivers are really going to have to be, on their A game. Got to be really on point here this week, going to these road courses, trying to make sure that they don't make any mistakes, that they don't slip up, and that they continue to hit their marks and run some great laps out there on the racetrack. As you do see that 38 ride, beautiful Texas paint scheme there. Got the Texas Longhorns number 38 ride, the Dirt Track Junkies machine, the Milner Media Designs ride. Out there on the racetrack is Mr. Ledoux looking for a good run here this evening. Is K-Dub Winker Nation in the chat. How are you, K-Dub Winker, coming in showing the love? Kev, hopefully your internet holds up here tonight, brother. Hopefully Hopefully the internet holds up for you. Hopefully there's no issues. Hopefully we get to see you actually race and compete here all evening long, as that's what we all want to see out of that number 42 machine. As we will get these drivers ready to rumble, ready to roll out here. Qualifying quickly coming to a close as drivers out there for their lone qualifying attempts, laying down some great laps. Right now it is Jacob Grube with the quick time here in qualifying. He laid down about a 1 second faster lap time than Alex Pelican, so that is going to be a very, very interesting battle. We saw Pelican fast there at the Chicago road course, and then we saw Jacob Grube storm through the field and end up winning that race for Pelican. He's going to be trying to chase down that 18th ride. I feel Jacob Grube is definitely the truck to beat here this evening. Everyone's going to be trying to chase him down as Pelican there starting in second. Brandon Deming, Chris Gilbert, Nick Gardner all qualifying up inside the top 5 as we do have 21 drivers load into the sim as K-Dub says internet is looking good. Laugh out loud. Now hopefully I can actually finish decent, he says. Hopefully Kev, hopefully brother. Obviously not the best qualifying attempt there for you, back in the 19th position, but we'll have to wait and see if you can get some strategy, work yourself up here through the field, and try to put that 42 ride back up onto the podium. As here we go, we'll go through our starting grid out there on the racetrack. Is man, this is gonna be interesting. This is gonna be a little bit wild here. I do believe we're gonna get going here pretty quickly, as I do believe they're down the back straightaway somewhere here, and they should get rolling here in just a little bit, waiting for all the drivers to load up and onto the screen. As we do see Jacob Grube. Grube will start in the top spot here this evening, so Jacob Grube out in front. Alex Pelican qualifying there in second in that Bucky's ride in position number 2. Brandon Deming, Chris Gilbert, Nick Gardner, our top 5 with Jason LePan, Zach Michael, Tyson Pankow, Bobby Blair, and Nate Maurer, our top 10 out there on the speedway. Nathaniel Ostrowiski, Ryan Peterson, Joshua Ledoux, Tim Blankenbeckler there in 14th, and Neil Lapidus in the OsakaOutdoors.com number 26 ride, rounding out our top 15. Brad Lane back in 16th, Nicholas Snyder there in 17th, Mark Beverly, Kevin Winker, Brian Chu, and Kyle Van Tassel bringing up the rear of the field here as 21 drivers getting ready to go to battle here. 21 drivers getting ready to duke it out here at COTA, man. This is going to be exciting. This is going to be a little bit wild to watch and see what these drivers are able to do and who's going to be able to move themselves up and through the field and try to put themselves into that winner's circle. And potentially for Jacob Grube, just going to be a race of nutrition, a race of just trying not to make a mistake out there. He clearly has the speed. If he can try to hold on to the race lead during our first opening lap of the day, potentially he can just try to run away, keep building that lead up, and then even if he does run into a mistake, maybe have a big enough gap where he still keeps all these drivers back there behind him. As here we go, rolling out onto the racetrack here, everyone rolling down here and ready to rock and roll here from the Circuit of the Americas here today. It's COTA, baby. This is going to be fun as HCK Beagles Racing League coming in with that share on the stream, coming in and showing the love here in this one as I don't know, chat, how you guys feeling? This is going to be very, very fun as Tubbs, what's good, Milner? Milner says, my mother fluffing dude. How we doing? How we doing, brother? How you doing here tonight, my boy? Hopefully you're having yourself a wonderful night. As Dimitri Curtis, what's good, Dimitri? Dimitri says, let's go, Trench. What's up, Ron? What's up, Dimitri? How are you, brother? How you doing here this evening? Hopefully you're having yourself a wonderful day here this evening. As, man, this is going to be fun. We did see Nicholas Snyder. Snyder's actually taking his truck down pit road here, so now I'm going to have to start from pit lane. This is a tough break for Nicholas Snyder. That's going to start him even deeper in the field, as Tom says, good, my man, good. That's great. I love to hear that. Love to hear that you're doing well, and, man, good couple of looking cars out there on the racetrack here again by Mr. Milner Media Designs. Tubbs, our boy there at the Dirt Track Junkies, definitely getting the COTA feel here. The beautiful Texas, environment, the beautiful Texas Longhorns race trucks out there for the Dirt Track Junkie rides here this evening. We love to see that as Pankow, Joshua Ledoux out there. We know Josh Ely couple drivers obviously missing that are part of our playoffs here tonight, not out there on the racetrack, as Janelle says, let's go Ridge Powersports, hashtag KR Gutter says, Richard Bradshaw, what's good, Richard? Richard says, let's go! Number 20, Jason LePan, number 18, Groob. Richard Bradshaw in the mother fluffin' house, he says, in the mother fluffin' houses, here we go. We will end all the anticipation with our feature presentation as we are quickly, green flag racing is up through the hill and into corner number 1. Nice and easy down through 1. Everyone trying to make it through there nicely. Looks like everyone able to keep their trucks pointing the right direction, as this is exactly the start that Alex Pelican wanted. Trying to go door to door with that 18 right for as long as possible, but in to corner number 3 here and through these S's here on the front straightaway. I don't know what we'd call this, but down through the S's here at Circuit of the America. That is the 18 right of Jacob Groob, able to take that race lead. Now he's looking to try to run away with this one, put down some qualifying laps, and look to just try to keep all these drivers back there at bay here this evening. It's Dimitri, my boy Dimitri, coming in with that share over on Facebook, as well as Friends for Pets coming in with that share as well, showing the love here this evening. We appreciate that, guys, coming in and showing the love here today. As, man, some great racing out there on the racetrack. Everyone trying to quickly race their way up and through the field. Everyone trying to find a little bit of a rhythm, a little bit of a groove here. Unfortunately, we did see Nicholas Snyder have to start from pit road here. And for the 5 right, he's still at the back of the pack, but he's quickly making a move here around Kyle Van Tassel. Van Tassel, unfortunately, going to fall back into position number 20 as Nicholas Snyder will jump out in front of him as all these drivers head down this little long chute here. I don't know what corner we're at here. I don't even know how many. I think we got, what, 20 corners here on this racetrack. Let's take a look here at the 971 ride, the DSR electric machine of Nate Maurer. Maurer sends it in there a little deeper as the 14 down to his inside. The 14 blows it in there too deep. They make some contact right there. Pretty hard left front damage to that 971 machine. Pretty good contact there to the KTM ride of Nathaniel Ostrowiecki. And unfortunately for both of those drivers, definitely not the contact that they wanted here early in this race. You do see Nicholas Snyder still trying to make some moves as he looks to get around Brian Chu there on the racetrack, as Jacob Groob out in front continue to lead the way here. Groob down through corner number 20 and back down the front straightaway here. Only about 0.8 of a second between himself and that 16 ride of Alex Pelican, and for Jacob Groob, he will lead lap number 1 here this evening. So already 1 lap down, 29 more laps left to go. Still a lot of racing, still a lot of time, and probably a couple stops here, a couple pit stops during the green flag racing. No caution flags there, localized yellows here on the racetrack, so there's going to be no full course caution flags here throughout the evening, which really makes things that much more intense, that much more interesting, and especially if we start to run into some of that different fuel strategy, tire strategy, or anything else. What's good, Jeff? Mr. Jeff McJeffrey in the chat says, yo, kicking tires and lighting fires. Let's go, he says. Let's go, Jefferoni. Let's go, my boy. How are you? Hopefully you're having yourself a wonderful Tuesday. As out in front, it is Jacob Groob, who looks to try to continue to run away with this one. As now we do see a couple other drivers running into some issues a little deeper in the field here. Tyson Pankow was just showing him up and off the track right here. Let's take a look and see if he got too far off or if there was any issues here. Just looks like he drives it in there a little too deep, and not too bad. It's just using that shoulder right there, so no worries there out of that 91 line. But we'll take a look a little farther back here. This is deeper in the field, back at about the 20th position for the Florida Cabinet Distributors. Number 51 of Brian Chu. Chu sends it into the corner, just unfortunately steps on it right there, gets onto the front a little too soon, and spins those tires, spins that truck around, goes for a quick loop-de-loop. He will be scored back in the 20th position here, as it actually looks like Nicholas Snyder still scored as a lap down out here. I'm not sure how he ended up going a lap down, but nonetheless, for Nicholas Snyder, it's scoring him as a lap down. I'm sure iRacing will probably get that fixed here over the next lap or two, as I don't believe that he is a lap down. He did start from pit road, but he shouldn't be scored as a lap down car. But we'll have to wait and see how iRacing scores it and how this may set this 5 ride even farther back on the day. If he's already a lap down out there on the speedway, this is really really going to hurt his chances all day long, and he'll just have to hope that a lot of other drivers have issues and maybe back out of this race for him to gain any spots here today. Is Jacob Grube out in front. Grube doing a great job here, but last time by, he laid down his quickest lap of this race to lead lap number 2, but Alex Pelican finding some good speed there. Pelican was actually the fastest truck out there on the racetrack, laid down the fastest lap of this race with a 2-minute, 19-second, and 81 millisecond lap right there, about a 10th quicker than our race leader Jacob Grube. So for Grube, maybe just trying to play a little strategy here. He has this sizable lead already. Maybe he's just trying to, manage the gap, keep himself out of trouble here, as we do see Nathaniel Ostrowiecki. Ostrowiecki goes around here. He's down in the grass, the KTM ride, try to get this trunk rolling here once again. He's going to get it turned around and rejoin the racing surface right in front of that 3 machine. Good piece of driving by Mark Beverly to avoid him there for Nathaniel Ostrowiecki. Even going around right there, still scored in that 15th position. Good break there as didn't fall too far back. Did lose a few spots though, as here we go. You just watch him go for the slide here. Down the hill, goes for a slide. You do see Nate Maurer go by him, a few other drivers there, another one there, and all of a sudden he finds himself back about 4 or 5 spots on the racetrack from where he was running just inside the top 10. So definitely a tough break there for Nathaniel Ostrowiecki. We'll have to wait and see if he can try to battle back and put himself back into the action here today, as Jacob Grube continues to lead this race out in front by just under a second here between himself and Alex Pelican. Pelican right there trying to reel in our race leader Brandon Domingue there in third. Hanging strong is Chris Gilbert, Nick Gardner, Jason LePan, Zach Michael, Tyson Pankow, Bobby Blair, and Nate Maurer back up into the 10th position here. Our top 10, no one is out of order here. Every single driver inside the top 10 is sitting right where they started. No one inside the top 10 has followed backwards now, and no one has moved forward out there on the racetrack. So that's going to make things very, very interesting here throughout the day, and see if anyone can try to find that speed, find that gear, and try to drive up through the field. As we do see Joshua Ledoux, he's back in 11th now. He is up 2 positions. Ryan Peterson there in 12th. That's exactly where he started. Kevin Winker started back in 19th in the Muleburger Custom Homes Winker Nation number 42 truck, now into 13th. Now he's up 6 spots on the racetrack. So maybe the one driver moving, storming through the field here this evening is Nathaniel Ostrowiecki back there on 14th. Mark Beverly there in 15th. And we see Nicholas Snyder. Okay, so iRacing has fixed Snyder's laps. He is on the lead lap, and he is scored in that 16th position. So good break there, at least for the 5 ride. Obviously still deep in the field, trying to battle back. Obviously has to make up a ton of ground already. 35 seconds between himself and our race leader here today, as the juke joint Friends for Pets number 10 of Tim Blankenbeckler there in the 17th position. Then we see Brad Lane there in 18th, Kyle Van Tassel in 19th, Neil Lapidus and his OSOCOutdoors.com Friends for Pets juke joint number 26 rolls there in the 20th position, and Brian Fine in that Florida Cabinet Distributors number 51 back in the 21st position on the speedway. The DSR electric ride, definitely not the run he was hoping for here today, but for some drivers, some drivers, these road courses are their bread and butter. Other drivers, they absolutely despise these road courses, and for some of them they're very, very tough. Some of them they find they are just a lot of fun, very enjoyable. Obviously getting that kind of a change of pace from running from all the ovals to be able to jump in here to a road course. It's a whole different experience, a whole different game plan out there. So it's a lot of fun to watch these drivers and what they need to do here, especially as they move down through some of these tight turns here, going up and down throughout the gears and trying to navigate their way around this beautiful COTA Speedway here this evening, as Jacob Grube out in front. Grube looking to just try to continue to stretch out that race lead, continue to try to pull farther and farther away from the rest of the field. He'll be looking to try to be that reflection of perfection here this evening, as Grube out in front, showing these drivers that, man, he is the car to beat, as down through corner number 20, back down across the start finish line, Jacob Grube will lead lap number 4 here at COTA, man. So far, some great runs, some great drives out there. Let's see if we can get some Let's see if we can get the track map going here. Let's see here. We do have... There's the track map. All right, let's show this here. So, let's show position, car number. Let's go position here. Alrighty, so you should see that track map up there. That will give you a pretty good look there. Obviously, the number 1 car, that is Jacob Krug, our race leader. You see him coming down, and he's got the big highlighted green circle around him right here at the front of this pack. All the way deeper in the field, you see that blue number 21. That, unfortunately, is our last place driver right now in Brian Chu. Chu is just about to go down and across the start finish line here at COTA. He just completes lap number 4 here today. And for Jacob Krug, he's halfway already done this racetrack. So the tough break here is already about half a lap down for the 21 ride. And for a lot of other drivers, they're falling farther and farther back there as well. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of where everyone is throughout this evening, where their bubbles will be out there on the racetrack here, and who's going to be near who late in this race to maybe make some late race moves and trying to advance themselves up and through the field. As my boy Justin James Young says, let's go Matt Taylor. Matt Taylor's not in here. Matt Taylor's not out there on the racetrack. What are you talking about, Justin? What you talking about, Willis? How are you, Justin? Good to see you, though, up in the chat, showing the love here in this one. But no Matt Taylor out there on the speedway here this evening. Matty's not in these NASCAR trucks. I wish he was. It would be cool if we could get Matt and Ty, all the boys, up here into some NASCAR truck racing. But they don't tend to wander too far over here to the asphalt side of things with these bigger leagues or anything else. So unfortunately, we don't got them out there on the speedway. I wish we did, though. Is Jacob Krug, though? Krug out in front. He's got about a 3-second lead now between himself and Alex Pelican, as Pelican rolls there in position number 2. Brandon Domingue back in 3rd. Chris Gilbert, Nick Gardner, our top 5 there on the racetrack. Is Gardner trying to put the pressure here on the 45 of Gilbert? Looks like Gilbert is going to move down to the inside here, maybe allowing that 27 ride to go by. Maybe he sees that the 27 has a little bit more speed, a little bit more pace, and that is the first pass up inside our top 5 here this evening. So Nick Gardner finally moving forward. Chris Gilbert falling back a spot here. Now he's got Jason LePan trying to hunt him down. Zach Michael, Tyson Bankow, Bobby Blair, and Nate Maurer, our top 10 out there on the racetrack, all looking to still keep on moving forward. Joshua Ledoux there in 11th with Ryan Peterson back in position number 12 as he is down through corner number 1 here at COTA. You see that 42 ride, Kevin Winker, K-Dub, now down through corner number 1 here himself. A little bit later, you see that 14 of Nathaniel Osherwisky. Here comes Nicholas Snyder. Snyder now up inside the top 15, trying to rebound from starting on pit road here this evening, trying to race his way back into the action as Mark Beverly, Brad Lane, Tim Blankenbeckler, Kyle Van Tassel, Neil Lapidus just heading down into corner number 1, able to make that corner, able to pull away as here comes our last place driver, unfortunately for Brian Chu, quite a ways down here, still heading down this front straightaway now, heading up the hill into corner number 1 here this evening as he'll send it in there, look to make that hard left-hand turn down and through corner number 1, back onto the throttle, and just hoping that he can just try to stay competitive here, hoping that he can just keep on having a solid run, and if some other drivers run into issues, maybe you can take advantage of that and still wind up with a half-decent finish. But right there, you do see the top 2 cats out there on the speedway. The gap between Jacob Krug and Alex Pelican, it is about 3.3 seconds out there on the speedway. So 3.3 seconds, it doesn't seem like it's a lot, but it is quite a distance out there. And for Jacob Krug, he's going to look to try to grow that lead and expand his efforts here this evening as we'll take a look back and see the 3 ride, the Busch Apple Machine. Having some issues here. Mark Beverly, let's take a look and see what happens to the Busch Light Apple ride as he's send it down into the corner here. I'm not sure which corner this is, but gets in there a little deep, then tries to roll out of it, and doesn't look like he runs into really any problems right there. So that's an interesting move, but nonetheless, he's able to keep it pointing in the right direction. That is a good thing, as it's here for a good time, not a long time. just like all these drivers here at COTA this evening. You're here for a good time, not a long time, as we do see Nicholas Snyder. Snyder has been looking to try to race his way back up through the top 15 here, the top 20, and trying to race his way now towards the top 10. And we'll have to wait and see what happens here to this Snyder buys number 5 ride. Virtually comes to a stop right there. Definitely very, very tight through that corner, trying to make that stop and just trying to get that truck rolling. Unfortunately, was losing that rear end, had to stab those brakes. Unfortunately, gives up a little bit more time there to Nathaniel Ostrowiecki. Ostrowiecki will look to try to keep him back there at bay as Nathaniel runs in that 14th position in that KTM number 14 ride. And right now they're both hunting down Kevin Winker. Winker Nation right there in the 13th position. Hasn't really been able to gain much here on Ryan Peterson, as Peterson has about 5.5 seconds between himself and that number 42 at Kevin Winker. Joshua Ledoux, but the same gap up to him here between him and Ryan Peterson's about 5 seconds, maybe a little bit more. But for Ledoux, he's been slowly but surely closing the gap here on this 971 ride of Nate Maurer. As Maurer runs in that 10th position, he looks to try to continue to race his way up and through the top 10 as out in front and continuing to lead some great laps here, looking to continue to keep all these drivers back there at bay. Is right now the last few times around the speedway, the only 2 drivers that ran in a 2:21 second area, so 2-minute 21 second time zone here this evening on that last lap was Jacob Grube and Alex Pelican. Grube was about 0.3 of a second quicker than Pelican out there on the racetrack. And then we saw the number 77 of Brandon Domingue, our 3rd place driver, was able to run in the 2 minutes and 22 second bracket. He was just a little under half a second slower than Pelican, just a little under a full second slower than Jacob Grube. But he's hanging strong here with these guys. Everyone else running in the 223s, 224s, and higher here. So for right now, Jacob Grube, Alex Pelican, if they can just keep on running here in that 2-minute and 21 second bracket, they're going to continue to just pull away from everybody else. Last time around, about 0.6 of a second, the gap there between Jacob Grube and Alex Pelican. So now Grube has about a 4.2-second lead between himself and Alex Pelican out there on the racetrack, and he's looking to continue to keep on growing that race lead. It's going to be interesting to see when drivers elect to come down pit road, when they decide to make these first wave of green flag pit stops. Now, as we got started, the first few laps of this race, we saw drivers running in the 2 minutes and 19 second area. We saw a few of them running in the 2-minute and 20 second area. So obviously tire fall off already a couple seconds out there on the racetrack, even for our race leaders. So it's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, 7.5 laps or so into this race, that tire fall off already being so big and playing such a vital role late in this race. Maybe trying to use that strategy to your advantage for gaining tires or making less pit stops out there compared to everybody else. Maybe that could be the winning move here today. It's Jacob Grube out in front, Pelican there in second, Brandon Domingue back in 3rd, with Nick Gardner, Chris Gilbert still our top 5 here at COTA. Then we see Jason LePan, Mr. LePan there in that Tech Warrior number 20 ride, rolls there in 6th. Zach Michael back in 7th. Then we see Tyson Pankow, Bobby Blair, and Nate Maurer, our top 10 here on the speedway. Let's see if we can jump on board here with our race leader Jacob Grube for a lap around Circuit of the Americas here this evening, as he's heading down through the final few corners here at COTA, looking to head back down that beautiful long front straightaway here. Let's see if we can jump on board with this number 20 ride and take you through a lap here, as this is down through this isn't even close to the end of this lap here. They're really close here. That was corner 19. This is corner number 20. So as he rounds corner number 20, this is the front straightaway. Look at the elevation height difference here. That is a massive, massive hill that these drivers are climbing. That height elevation is absolutely insane here at COTA as they head all the way up this hill. Now they're going to make that hard left-hand turn down through corner number 1. Quickly exiting corner number 1, and they head back down this hill just ever so slightly into corner number 2. A little bit more of a wide sweeping corner right there, and then a little bit of a straightaway still heading down this hill. Now they're going to head into the X's. There's corner 3. Corner 4, you got to make sure you keep your truck on the racing surface. You don't want to blow through those stanchions or make a penalty right there by cutting the race course. So you got to hit your marks perfectly as he heads down through, I do believe, corner number 6 into corner number 7. Nice and easy down through 7 and into 8, which is another wide sweeping corner here. Back into corner number 9, a quick tight left-hand turn right there, and then up this little bit of a hill down in through corner number 10 and into corner number 11 here. This is at the tip of the racing track, so at the very, very tip of this speedway. Let's get the track map up there where you guys can get a good look at the track map as well as down this long back straightaway here. This is a very, very long back straightaway. You build up a ton of speed, a ton of momentum here, and a little bit of different height elevations, a little bit of great scenery here, and then you head all the way back down into, I do believe it's corner number 12 here on the racetrack. So quickly getting all that speed built up. Now you're hard back onto the binders, making the hard left-hand turn down through corner number 12, and then back in through corner number 13 here. Now 13, 14, they're kind of connected here a little bit. They're kind of like a little bit of a tight square right there, and then he's able to make that down into corner number 14 here, which is a very, very tight turn. Again, you see all the RPMs drop down, the speed drops down. They're almost stalled out right there, and then down into corner number 15. Nice and easy through 15, leads you into 16 here, and we see I do believe this is corner number 17 or 18 right there actually. Then this is corner number 19 on the speedway. Down through 19, nice and easy, back down onto the throttle. There's pit lane to the left, so he's going to stay up for another lap. Does not head down pit lane, rounds corner number 20 here at COTA, back onto the throttle, and quickly rolling back up through the gears thereafter, leading another lap here this evening. It's Colton Hardy. What's good, Colton? Colton coming in showing the love, says hashtag Winker Nation. Shauna Rita also coming in showing the love, says hashtag Winker Nation as well. As that was a great lap right there. These guys putting together some great laps and really giving us a good showing of these amazing race cars and what these drivers are able to do behind the wheel here and racing one of these road courses. And quickly, you do see on that track map our 20th place driver, Brian Chu. He's starting to become lap traffic here. He's not too far away from our race leaders here today, and how lap traffic could play a vital role here as the rest of the field here, 19, 18, 17, they're not too far away from potentially becoming lap traffic here as well. As, man, some absolutely tight racing, great racing here, and these drivers continue to put on a heck of a show for us here in this one, man. Give it up for all these drivers. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a great show so far. They've been putting on a heck of a battle for us out there on the racetrack. As there we go, you do see the gap between first and second is right there. That's in position number 1, Jacob Grube. He's headed down the back straightaway here at COTA. He's got a pretty sizable lead here down this back straightaway. We'll take a look and see when he has to make that hard left-hand turn back into the next corner, as you'll see Alex Pelican quite a ways back here behind him. There's Pelican. Here comes Brandon Domingue there in the 77. Here comes Nick Gardner back there in position number 4. What we'll do is we'll use that stanchion right there, the overhead bars, as a little bit of an area. You see the gaps here between these drivers. There's Gilbert. There's the number 34 of Zach Michael. Tyson Pankow not too far away. He's got Bobby Blair right there with him, as here they come right down through that little bit of an area. Nate Maurer a little farther back. Joshua Adu a little farther back behind him on this back straightaway. And you see the gaps here in the time difference between each of these drivers and how long it takes them to get to that overhead signage there, heading down into this back straightaway corner. As you do see Ryan Peterson, that's the 14 right of Nathaniel Ostrowiecki right there, as well as the 5 of Nicholas Snyder right there as well. Kevin Winker a little farther back behind those guys. Winker has fallen back into the 15th position position on the racetrack. There's Brad Lane, Tim Blankenbeckler. These guys are quite a ways behind Brad Lane and the rest of the field right now. Tim Blankenbeckler back in 17th. Kyle Van Tassel, Neil Lapidus, all right there together. They're having their own little fight here as Brian Chu even farther back there in the 51 ride. And as Chu's headed down through these S's, Jacob Grube, our race leader, he's headed down into the S's right now himself. So not too far away from becoming lap traffic. And unfortunately for Mark Beverly, Beverly ran into some connection issues, and Mark Beverly is off of the racing surface as we do see Zach Michael. Zach Michael, the first car here to head down pit side here at COTA. So Zach Michael making that green flag pit stop is what's good, Mr. LaFon. Jordan coming in showing the love. What's good, Mr. LeBoon. Jordan coming in showing the love. Tech Warrior coming in with the shares as well here on the broadcast. You shout out to Tech Warrior Technologies coming in showing the love. Jordan LaFon smashing that thumbs up here on the broadcast, and everyone coming in showing the love and everything here this evening as Albert Anderson. What's good, Albert? Albert coming in as well. That hashtag Winker Nation cheered on K-Dub here this evening. As you see Zach Michael able to come down pit road, make his pit stop in for Zach Michael. He's still rolling in that 12th position, so did not really give up too many positions, but now he does find himself about 60 seconds, a minute back behind our race leader, Jacob Grube. That is, this is a long racetrack, chat. This is a long racetrack. It is very, very long here. It takes a long time, about 2 minutes and 20 seconds plus to navigate your way around this speedway. And right now, Jacob Grube, he's the one doing it the best, better than anybody else here. Alex Pelican's been able to run fairly similar lap times here for quite a little while, but unfortunately still falling farther and farther behind Jacob Grube right now, as he is now back about 7.6 seconds. So he is quite a ways back behind Jacob Grube, and even farther back you do see that 77 rider Brandon May. He's about 14 seconds behind our race leader Nick Gardner, who rolls in position number 4. He's about 23 seconds back of our race leader Jason LePan, and Chris Gilbert right there. They are back about 28, 29 seconds behind our race leader. Bobby Blair right there. He's about 36 seconds. Thanks to Pankow. He's about 38 seconds back. Nate Maurer, who's now into 9th, he is about 47 seconds behind our race leader. There's that 38 right, about 51 seconds there between our 10th place driver and our race leader out here on the speedway. That's absolutely insane. As you do see the Buckies. The Buckies Celsius number 16 ride heads down pit side here in this one as, what does the back say? Restroom so clean you can see yourself. Could you not see yourself in a bathroom in the U.S. at a Buckies before? Whether or not they were clean or not? Like, they have mirrors, right? They have mirrors. I'm pretty positive they have mirrors in there in a bathroom. Do they not? So like, I don't get that. Is that Bucky's saying? Is that their slogan? If that's their slogan and they're talking about restrooms and not, you know, the biggest gas station in the world or whatever it is, you know, that seems like a wild one to me. I've never been to a Bucky's. I'm up here in Canada. Okay, I've only seen it on YouTube videos. I haven't been able to experience a Bucky's, but I definitely want to. That is on my bucket list of things to do, is to experience a Bucky's. If you guys have been to a Bucky's right now in the chat, let me know. Let me know if you have experienced Bucky's, and, you know, what's your favorite thing to get there, or your favorite experience at Bucky's, as it seems like the place to be, man. On any type of a road trip, that's where you want to go, is Bucky's for your first stop of the day, as you do see Jacob Grube continuing to lead the way here. The Pop Smoke 22 machine out in front leading this race. He's looking to be that reflection of perfection here after qualifying in the pole position. He has led every single lap so far, and nice and easy down through the last few corners here on this lap. He heads down through corner number 19 on the racetrack and heads down into corner number 20. Now we'll have to wait and see. Doesn't look like he's going to come down pit side. He's going to stay out on the racetrack here for at least another lap. Is nice and easy down and out of corner number 20, back down across the line. That will be lap number 12 completed here this evening. So 12 laps down, 18 laps left to go here in the Is It Over Yet 4:30, presented by Ridge Powersports here this evening. As you do take a look at the Ridge Powersports ride out there on the racetrack, that 469 ride of Ryan Peterson. Peterson right now, he is just on the outside of the top 10 looking in here. He's hoping to try to navigate his way up inside the top 10 here today, as he's looking to get a big dump here, or at least a big solid finish, as we have seen a few other drivers start to make their way down pit side. Obviously, we saw Pelican down pit road. He's still running in that 6th position, making that pit stop here, able to hold on to a top 10 still on the speedway. Zach Michael, he's raced his way back inside the top 10, now rolls in the 9th position. Tyson Pankow came down pit side in his Texas Longhorns Dirt Track Junkie 09 engraving. Triple J Motorsports number 91 ride down pit road here. He scored back in that 13th position. Nathaniel Ostrowski, he came down pit road there on lap number 10. He scored back in the 16th spot, as here comes Joshua Ledoux now. Ledoux heads down pit side. He'll look to get some work done, some fuel, some tires onto that 38 ride. Now we'll have to wait and see how long other drivers elect to try to stay out here. Can they make it to the halfway marker, or do they have to come down before then? Obviously, we see our race leader, Jacob Grube. He's staying out. He's been laying very, very fast laps, so he's got to be probably using up a little bit more fuel than a lot of these other drivers, being so fast out there on the speedway, being so hard on the throttle and everything else. So we'll have to wait and see if potentially he has to come down pit side, or if he can make it lap number 15 or beyond, potentially making this a one-stop race and only having to make one pit stop. May be the big break here this evening for a lot of these other drivers that came down pit road on lap number 10, lap number 11, potentially. They can make it to the end still, or potentially they're going to be a little bit shy and may have to come back down pit road for another pit stop here on the evening. We'll have to wait and see kind of how it all plays out, how it all shapes up, and see who's able to make the right strategy call to put themselves potentially into the winner's circle. As here we go, down through corner number 20. Once again, Jacob Grube will click off another lap. Is down across the line. 13 laps completed here today. So 13 laps done here this evening, as about 16 seconds back behind our race leader. You do see our second place driver, the 77 of Brandon Deming. Deming about 16 seconds back there behind Jacob Grube. He barely even sees Grube out there on the racetrack, even just down the back straightaway here. Let's take a look back at the 77 ride of Brandon Deming as he leaves corner number 20. Does he even see Jacob Grube here? Okay, you can just see him. Okay, you can just see him as he's leaving corner number 20. You can see Jacob Grube down the front straightaway, just ever so slightly, just up by that scoring pylon. The 18 ride, our race leader, he is rolling down through corner number 1. That is the gap between first and second, this entire straightaway here, and a bit of that first corner out there on the speedway. So it's quite a ways, man. That is a long, long gap. That is a almost a pit stop there between him and Brandon Deming. So if Jacob Grube probably wanted to head down pit side, he can almost do it scot-free out there on the speedways. Nick Garner about 10 seconds behind Brandon Deming. Jason LePan about 7 seconds back behind him. And then you do see Alex Pelican. Pelican has worked himself back around Chris Gilbert and has now worked himself back into that 5th position. Now, the last few times around the speedway, Alex Pelican has been the fastest car out there on the racetrack. Now, he's using up those fresh tires. He's using them. He's abusing them. He's running some great lap times out there, and he's working his way back up through the top 5. Now, he's closing the gap. He's getting closer to Jacob Grube. He's still about 34 seconds back there, with Grube still probably having to make at least one more pit stop here on the day, or at least the one and only pit stop on the day for all these drivers. Potentially, that's the only, maybe they only have to make one pit stop here on the evening, so that could really, change things up here. If we don't see Jacob Grube come down pit side, in the next, 5-10 laps, potentially, he could have fresher tires, but the 16 ride probably going to leapfrog him. Potentially could be out in front leading this race once all the pit cycle kind of cycles through, and we see Jacob Grube, having to track down the 16 ride just like he did back at Chicago Road Course here as well. As we went to Chicago Road Course earlier in the season, Jacob Grube had to start at the back of the pack. Again, no caution flags on the road courses, and for Jacob Grube, he got tied up in an early incident. Unfortunately, unfortunately, there as well. Had to battle back not only from that, but also had to battle back from starting at the rear of the field. And Jacob Grube, he just kept with it, kept hitting his marks, kept rolling up through the field, and slowly but surely, he was able to track down the 16 ride within 10 laps left to go, and was able to steal that win away from Alex Pelican. And Jacob Grube just drove away after he took that race lead, so we'll have to wait and see if it'll be more of the same here, or if he's able to hit the strategy perfectly and still able to hold that number 16 ride back there at bay, as Jacob Grube out in front. He's a man on a mission here. He's led the first 14 laps of this race. Did not come down pit road right there, but we did see Nick Gardner, Jason LePan, Nate Maurer, they all come down pit side. We'll have to wait and see if anyone else elects to come down pit road here, as well as there goes Nick Gardner. Gardner will slide back out onto the racetrack, and as he rolls up corner number 1 here into corner number 1, he will be scored back in the 6th position. So really didn't lose much, but other than track position out there on the racetrack, but should be able to gain a lot of that back, plus maybe gain a little bit more here with those fresh tires on this 27 ride. We'll have to wait and see if Nick Gardner can try to put himself into contention to maybe win this race here this evening, as right now Jacob Grube continues to lead the way here, has a 22-second gap between himself and Brandon Deming. So he continues to pull farther and farther away from Brandon Deming here, but unfortunately, Alex Pelican in position number 3 has those fresh tires. He was down pit road on lap number 11. Now, obviously, that was only about 4 laps ago. He did close the gap quite a bit on Jacob Grube, but now it looks like it's kind of stalled out a little bit on this last lap. He kind of started this lap being down about 33 seconds to Jacob Grube, and doesn't look like he's really gained too much on Grube out there on the speedway. So we'll have to wait and see if Jacob maybe just hitting his marks and starting to run some good laps. And now here he comes down pit road himself, so he's going to cut it right in half. Lap number 15, he's going to come down pit side. So for Jacob Grube, making his green flag pit stop as we're halfway in, halfway to go here this evening. We'll have to wait and see where Grube kind of lines up here as he rolls down the front straightaway into that number 1 pit stall. Brandon Deming going to come down pit road here as well. Alex Pelican, he's headed down through corner number 19, now into corner number 20. Jacob Grube, he's down pit road. They just got finished on the right-hand side. Now they're working on the left-hand side of that truck. Here comes Pelican down the front straightaway. He's building up all that speed, all that momentum. We'll have to wait and see where they line up here, as here comes Grube. He's leaving pit lane. Does Alex Pelican come out in front of him? But no, he doesn't. Jacob Grube able to stay out in front. A perfectly timed pit stop there, and obviously having that big lead, that advantage here, and even giving up time with the fresher tires back behind him. Alex Pelican trying to hunt him down, trying to leapfrog him there. Unfortunately for Alex, he's still back in position number 2. That gap too big to claw back from, and unfortunately for Alex Pelican, he's about 2 seconds still behind Jacob Grube. His group now with the fresher tires going to look to just try to pull away here and put this race to bed, looking to try to put himself up and into victory lane here in race number 2 of our HTK Beagles playoffs here this year. Is Pelican there in second, Brandon Ming back in third, Nick Gardner in position number 4 with Zach Michael back in 5th. Jason LePan rounding out our top 6 with Tyson Pankow, Bobby Blair, Chris Gilbert, Nate Maurer, our top 10 out there on the speedway. Ryan Peterson scored back in position number 11 with Nicholas Snyder just around him, now up into 12th, while you do see Nathaniel Ostrowiecki, Joshua Ledoux both rolling by that number 5 right as Snyder going to roll back out onto the racetrack here in that 5 machine. Here comes Ryan Peterson. Brad Lane also down pit side. Kevin Winker, K-Dub, he's down pit road. Neil Lapidus yet to pit. Same with Kyle Van Tassel. Looks like both these drivers are going to head down pit side here this time, and I'm sure we'll see this 10 ride of Tim Blankenbeckler, the 51 of Brian Chu potentially coming down pit road as well, as right now Chu is the first car 1 lap down out there on the racetrack, but unfortunately with these pit stops, there may be a few more drivers to potentially go a lap down here this evening. So we'll have to wait and see if he can try to keep himself in the action here today, as the 18 ride nice and easy down through corner number 17 and 18 into corner number 19 here at COTA. He will ground corner number 19 nice and quickly, heads down into corner number 20 and down across the start finish line here for Jacob Jacob Grube as Grube able to lead still all these laps. He is the reflection of perfection. He's led every single lap so far here this evening. Has not given up that race lead, and for Jacob Grube, he's looking to hang on to it here for the final 14 laps of this race. And there you go, you do see that 10 rider Tim Blankenbeckler, unfortunately just rolling out of pit lane there for the Friends for Pets, the juke joint number 10 ride. Unfortunately, Tim does find himself going a lap down here this evening. For a lot of drivers, it's gonna be a mission accomplished if you can keep yourself on the lead lap. A lot of these drivers, I feel, really strive themselves of just staying on the lead lap, not going a lap down out there. I think that's a lot of goals for a lot of these drivers, but you do see Kyle Van Tassel right there. Van Tassel potentially about to go a lap down. Same with Neil Lapidus as our race leader right there on their back bumper now. There is a big gap between these guys and our 16th place driver, about 40 seconds forward here on the speedway. You do see Kevin Winker and Brad Lane, so they got a little extra time here before they may see our race leader knocking on their back bumper out there on the racetrack. But for Jacob Grube, he's looking to make quick work of these guys and maybe put a couple cars in between himself and Alex Pelican, as Pelican trying to stay right there with them as he's about 2.7 seconds back of our race leader. Brandon Domingue a little farther back there. He's about 21 seconds behind our race leader. Scored back in the 13th position here on the racing surface. Then Nick Gardner there in 4th. Zach Michael rounding out our top 5. James Delapan, Bobby Blair, Tyson Pankow, Chris Gilbert, and Nate Maurer. Our top 10 here on the racetrack is out in front. Jacob Grube continuing to lead the way as the next time by the start-finish line, he will complete lap number 17. It will have 13 laps of racing action left here today. So we're getting down to the nitty-gritty, the final closing laps of this race. As ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, what we're going to do now is jump into a quick Peacemaker Gaming Crank It Up. So what we want you guys to do is crank up that volume and cheer on your favorite drivers here today. Cheer on your favorite driver out there on the racetrack in the comment section right now. Let us know who you want to see get the win or who you're cheering for here today as we crank it up and give you the sights and sounds here at the beautiful Circuit of the Americas. Alrighty, give it up for all these drivers. A beautiful crank it up session here from COTA. It is the Circuit of the Americas here this evening, and out in front it's Jacob Grube. Grube leading the way here now. Grube, the last few times around the racetrack, running a little bit slower lap times than the number 16 of Alex Pelican, as Pelican had come down pit road, made a secondary pit stop here on the day, came down pit side on lap number 19. Now he's got the fresher tires, he's got that little bit quicker of a car with those fresh tires, and he's trying to hunt down not only that number 77 rider Brandon Ming, but also trying to hunt down our race leader. Now there's a big gap between him and Jacob Grube, and now for Grube, he may have been holding back. He may have just been saving tires. He may have just been playing with these guys as well. Last time around, he ran not only his quickest lap of this race on tires that are about 8 laps old, he ran the quickest lap of this race. He ran a 2-minute, 17-second lap time. The only driver in that 2 minutes and 17-second bracket. Him and Alex Pelican are the only two drivers that have ran a quicker lap time than 2 minutes and 20 seconds all evening long. No one else has hit a 2-minute and 18-second lap out there on the racetrack except for these two. Now Pelican was running quicker lap times, laid down the quickest lap of this race back on about lap number 21 here this evening, and he was hunting down Jacob Grube, and now Grube all of a sudden has found another gear and just laid down a absolutely blazing fast lap time, quicker by about 0.4 of a second than Alex Pelican's best lap out there on the speedway. So for Jacob Grube, I was thinking, you know what, he's got about 30 seconds, 32 seconds between himself and Alex Pelican. We saw it on his first stop. He had about that same gap, came down pit side, was able to put 4 tires on it, get fuel, roll back out onto the racetrack, and still stay in front of Alex Pelican. So I was thinking, why not take the gamble? Why not come back down pit road, pit for a second time? You should come out still with the race lead and have those fresher tires once again over that number 16 of Alex Pelican, but electing to maybe just make this a one-stop pit race and just try to keep this gap between himself and Pelican, as Alex still about 31 seconds back behind Jacob Grube right now with only, 6 laps left in this race. It's going to take quite a while for Pelican to try to gain that gapage, and if he can lay down the laps to be able to do it, maybe he can make up that ground. Maybe he can work himself back to the fight at the front of the field, but I'm not sure if he's going to even have enough time to get there, but he's going to be giving everything he's got as he does make that move around Brandon Deming and will jump up into position number 2, but he's still 31 seconds behind Jacob Grube out there on the racetrack, and that is a ton of time. Even if Jacob Grube put it onto cruise control here, he could give up 3 seconds a lap and still win this race. If he gave up 3 seconds every single lap, he could still win this race. He could almost give up 5 seconds every single lap and still win this race. So that is virtually the dominance shown out of this 18 ride here today for Jacob Grube, and how well he's been running. And not too far in front of him is the number 42 rider, Kevin Winker. Winker, I know, is looking to hopefully try to stay on the lead lap here, but for the Winker Nation ride, unfortunately here for Game Dub, started deep in this field, did move forward a little bit, but he's back in that 16th position right now. And unfortunately, has our race leader quickly catching up to him here this evening, and he may be the next driver to go a lap down. It's Kyle Van Tassel, Neil Lapidus, Tim Blankenbeckler. They're all lapped down. Same with Brian Chu. Mark Beverly, unfortunately, has left this race and has taken his car back down behind pit wall since lap number 8. And for the 3 ride, he will finish back in the 21st position here today, as we do see a bit of a battle right here. Oh, baby Nate Maurer looking to try to race his way up inside the top 10. He was looking to try to get around Ryan Peterson right there. Unfortunately, got very loose underneath of that number 469 riding for the Ridge Powersports machine of Peterson. Able to hang on to position number 10, but he's got a couple fast trucks right there on his back bumper. Here comes Maurer. Here comes Nicholas Snyder. Snyder had to start from pit road here this evening. Unfortunately, had to start at the back of the pack. He slowly but surely has worked his way up here, and as far as he's gotten forward is this 12th position here today. So hasn't really gained too much time, but is looking to try to maybe gain a couple more spots here late in this race and maybe move himself up inside the top 10 to salvage at least a half-decent day. As there goes Maurer, there goes Snyder, both around Ryan Peterson here on the speedway. So we'll have to keep an eye on this fight. Just inside our top 10 now for Nate Maurer, and just outside the top 10 for Snyder and Peterson, as Peterson falls back into that 12th position. But for Jacob Grube, he still has this race lead, 29, virtually 30 seconds between himself and Alex Pelican, as Pelican way up the racetrack right there, trying to get a big run down this into corner number 2 here and through the S's here this evening, as Brandon Domingue still right there in tow, having a sneaky good run here himself. He's been up inside the top 2, top 3 all evening long, and for Brandon Domingue just coming home with a solid top 3 finish, trying to help his chances on advancing into our top 10 in our playoffs here this season. Nick Garner right there as well. He's looking to survive this race. He's been up inside the top 5, top 4 here all evening. Has a pretty sizable gap there between himself and Bobby Blair. Bobby Blair, one of the hard chargers out there on the racetrack here. He's virtually one of the only drivers throughout our top 10 that has moved forward here on the speedway, as Bobby Blair is up 4 positions. Started back in 9th, now up and into position number 5. And out of anybody inside our top 10, him and Nick Garner are the only drivers that have gained positions on the racetrack. Everyone else has either stayed right where they started or they have fallen back a spot or a few. So for Nick Gardner up 1 position, Bobby Blair, he's up 4 spots here on the speedway. Chris Gilbert unfortunately has lost 3 spots from where he started. Zach Michael down a spot, and Tyson Pankow down to a spot from where he started. Nate Maurer right where he started there in the 10th position, trying to hold off Nicholas Snyder. Snyder could potentially be our hard charger on the day. He's up 6 positions from where he was going to start out there on the racetrack. He was bound to start in position number 17, still had to start down from pit road, so virtually from 21st now up into 11th, trying to race his way inside the top 10 here this evening. We'll have to wait and see if he can jump up and take that spot away from Nate Maurer. Ryan Peterson started in the 12th position, still rolls there in 12th. Nathaniel Ostrowiecki, he's lost a couple spots. Brad Lane, he's gained a couple spots. Joshua Ledoux, he's fallen back 2 positions, as Kevin Winker up 3 spots. Kyle Van Tassel, he's up 3 spots here as well. Unfortunately for Neil Lapidus, down 3 positions. Tim Blankenbeckler, he's down 5 spots here on the racetrack. Brian Chu right where he started, and Mark Beverly unfortunately down 3 spots and out of this race. So not a whole lot of big movers out there, especially throughout our top 10, but Nicholas Snyder, he's been that hard charger throughout this evening, obviously going from the back of the pack back in 21st, now up into 11th, and looking to try to crank his way inside the top 10 here today. But out in front, it's been all Jacob Grube, and Grube still has about that 30-second gap between himself and Alex Pelican now, as he heads down this back straightaway here at the beautiful Circuit of the Americas here this evening. COTA, man, such a fun racetrack, such an amazing speedway, and it's always so fun watching the real-life NASCAR crews come here and race this speedway and really put on a show for all the Texas fans. And here in iRacing, they do the exact same thing. These drivers show up, they show out, put on a heck of a show for us, and it's been all Jacob Grube. He has been that reflection of perfection. He qualified in the pole position. He has led every single lap here today, even with making a green flag pit stop, was able to have such a big enough lead that he was out in front, was able to make that pit stop, come back out of pit lane, and still have that race lead. And right now carries about a 30-second gap between himself and Alex Pelican. Pelican has 4 lap better tires, but still cannot close that gap here and hunt down Jacob Grube. And I think he knows that his bet is made, that it's a second place run here today for Pelican. All he's trying to do is make sure he hits his marks and doesn't allow Brandon Domingue an opportunity to jump up there and steal P2 back away from that 16 ride. Now they got about 20 seconds between themselves and our 4th place driver, Nick Gardner. Is Gardner there in position number 4 now? He only has about 4 seconds between himself and Bobby Blair. Bobby only got about a second and a half between himself and Jason LePan, and then a big gap from 6th back to 7th. 24 4 seconds the gap here between our 6th place driver and our 7th place driver. Not too far of a gap there, about 2 seconds between Chris Gilbert and Zach Michael. 17 seconds back from 8th to 9th is Tyson Pankow there in that beautiful Dirt Track Junkies 91 ride. Nate Maurer about 6 seconds back behind him. He's got Nicholas Snyder right there. Ryan Peterson there as well in position number 12. Then another big gap, about 20 seconds, all the way back here to our 13th place driver, Nathaniel Ostrowiecki. Brad Lane 6 seconds behind him. And now for Brad Lane, he's looking to try to stay on the lead lap here. Same with Joshua Ledoux. Unfortunately, they did see Kevin Winker in that Winker Nation Muleburger Custom Homes Silverado go a lap down here, as we do see Jason LePan making a late race pit stop here for that number 20 ride. We'll have to wait and see if this plays out for him. I'm not sure if he didn't have enough fuel in the tank there. Maybe that pit stop did not get enough gas in that truck, and unfortunately having to make an additional pit stop right there. You see him get that splash and go. They give him that extra bit of fuel to try to get him to the end of this race. Unfortunately there for LePan, doesn't lose any positions, but did lose a ton of track time right there, and now does have a pretty close gap here between himself and Chris Gilbert and Zach Michael right there. So for Jason LePan, just hoping that he's got enough fuel in this truck that he can make it to the end of this race, doesn't have to come back down pit side again, and obviously hoping that he can hold off, not make any mistakes, and keep Chris Gilbert and Zach Michael back behind him here this evening. It's Jacob Group, though, out in front, easy breezy. Out in front, he's staying sneezy as Brad Lane does go a lap down there on the race line number 1 ride. So Brad Lane a lap down. Joshua Ledoux, the next driver to potentially go a lap down here this evening, is down through corner number 20 here at COTA. There goes our race leader right in tow behind our 14th place driver, Joshua Ledoux. Going to click off another lap, and we see 2 more laps left to go here in this one. So only 2 more laps left here today for all these drivers. So that is a still a lot of time. There's still a lot of time for mistakes, a lot of opportunities where drivers could unfortunately run into problems there. As Gregory Turner says, is it over yet? Is it over yet? Yeah, is it over yet 30 here this evening, as he's powered all by Ridge Powersports here this evening, as almost a fitting name for this race. But you know what? It's been fun. It's been exciting. It's been some good racing action, as Bruce coming in with the like on the stream over there on Facebook. Kevin Reese as well coming in, dropping that thumbs up here on the broadcast today, as well as Jacob Group, though, out in front, continuing to show these drivers how to get it done here in this one. Pelican there in second, still about 29 seconds back behind Jacob Group. Group can just be on absolute cruise control here this evening with about a lap and a half left here today. He has just been the reflection of perfection. He's been a man on a mission right from the drop of the green flag and all the way down to the checker flag here today. So we'll have to wait and see if he can just keep this truck pointing the right direction, try to drive this Pump Smoke 22 Tank Warrior number 18 ride back up into victory lane here in the HCK Beagles Truck Series, as Jacob Group has been that truck to beat here all evening long. I feel a lot of drivers came into this race just expecting this smackdown from the 18 ride. We kind of figured that's the way it was going to play out. We thought Pelican would maybe give him a run for his money, and Pelican has been kind of there putting the pressure on him, as in he held with him there for the first 8 laps or so, and then just started to fall away farther and farther and farther. And obviously pit stops, and Jacob Group coming in with a different strategy, had a big lead since that point, and has just been on a whole different planet ever since then. And for Jacob Group, he's looking to keep it that way as he heads down through the final couple corners here at COTA. Nice and easy down through corner number 19 and down into corner number 20 as he rounds corner number 20, heads back down across the start-finish line here for the 18 of Jacob Group. He will see that white flag fly. So one more time around here for Jacob Group to pick up the checkered flag here at COTA this evening in the Is It over yet 30, presented by Ridge Powersports in the HCK Beagles Truck Series. It is Jacob Grube, the reflection of perfection. He's led all 29 laps, holds a 28-second lead, and knowing that if he can just continue to hold that gap, keep that truck on the racetrack and out of trouble, could drive his way into victory lane, leading every single lap here this evening. Pelican back there in second, valiant effort, great run, great drive there for the Buckies. Celsius Silverado as he rolls there in second. A little farther back, you do see Brandon Deming in position number 3. Nick Garner there in position number 4 with Bobby Blair back in 5th. And then you do see Nick Garner actually coming down pit road here. So it looked like Nick Garner potentially cutting it too close there on fuel. Has to make another pit stop here this evening, looking for a splash and go. Unfortunately for Nick Garner, that is going to give up position number 4 here to Bobby Blair. So Bobby Blair will now jump up into 4th. Nick Garner will fall back to at least that 5th position here. We'll have to wait and see if Jason LePan can close that gap and maybe try to work his way back inside the top 5, but Nick Garner already getting that splash of gas and going. Jason LePan just heading out of corner number 20 and rolling back out there as you see Chris Gilbert, Zach Michael, Tyson Pankow, Nate Maurer still rounding out our top 10 as Nicholas Snyder, Ryan Peterson, Nathaniel Ostrowiecki, Joshua Ledoux, and Brad Lane round out our top 15 here today. But out in front, it's all Jacob Grube. Grube has been the reflection of perfection here all evening long, and he's just gonna be on cruise control here on the final lap. He's still got 29 seconds to spare between himself and Alex Pelican. No sense in pushing it, no sense in putting yourself into a bad situation out there. You can just kind of coast it. He could probably turn this truck off and just let it roll out there on the speedway, roll down the hill. He could probably still win this race without even having to hit that throttle again, but you know he's gonna send it deep down here into corner number 20 for the final time here this evening. Jacob Grube will round corner number 20 and he will find victory lane here in our second playoff race of the season. Jacob Grube finds victory lane here at COTA, the Circuit of the Americas, and it's the 18 ride of Jacob Grube who wins this race. A man on a mission here all evening long, and he's able to get it done. He's so fast, he's got such a big lead. We still haven't seen our second place driver finish this race. There is Alex Pelican. Pelican finally setting it down through corner number 2, down across the line. Pelican will come home in position number 2 here this evening. Here comes Brandon Ming, our third place finisher. Bobby Blair quite a ways back here. We're waiting for Bobby to still finish off his day as Bobby Blair down through corner number I do believe 17 and 18 down into corner number 19 here at the Circuit of the Americas. He'll head down into corner number 20 here and down the front straightaway, and Bobby Blair will round out our top 4 here this evening as down across the line. There's Bobby coming home in position number 4. Showing you the gaps that these drivers had. There's the 27 ride of Nick Garner just down into corner number 19. He'll roll corner number 19 and into corner number 20 here himself, and he will come home inside the top 5 here even after making that late race pit stop, the splash and go. He's able to hang on to a 5th place run here this evening as Jason LePan there in position number 6, Chris Gilbert there in 7th, Zach Michael in 8th, and then we do see the 51 right there. That's Brian Chu. Chu comes home back in the 20th position. Tough run there for Brian Chu as you do see all the way back again down through 19. Here comes Nate Maurer, Tyson Pankow, Nicholas Snyder. Snyder hoping to try to jump up inside the top 10 here, looking for his way around the 91 ride. I'm not sure if he'll be able to find it as Nate Maurer down across the line will come home in 9th. Tyson Pankow there in 10th. Nicholas Snyder, Nathaniel Ostrowiecki, our top 12 here this evening. Ryan Peterson back in 13th with Joshua Ledoux, Brad Lane, Kevin Winker, Kyle Van Tassel, Neil Lapidus, Tim Blankenbackler, and Brian Chu rounding out our top 20. Back in 21st, it is the number 3 ride of Mark Beverly. Here's Nathaniel Ostrowiecki just down across the line. He will complete his final lap and come home there in that 12th position. But it's all Jacob Grube as Grube picks up the dub here. He wins this race in dominating fashion here this evening. We'll get ready to pull in not only Jacob Grube, but Alex Pelican and Brandon Deming, our top 3 here this evening. for their post-race interviews after what was a very, very fun run, a very great race here this evening from Circuit of the Americas is Chris Muse. What's good, Muse? Chris coming in showing the love of that like on the stream. How are you, Chris? Chris coming in showing the love. How are you? How you doing this evening? Hopefully you're having yourself a wonderful day as we'll get ready to pull Jacob Grube up and into the broadcast booth. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up here for Jacob after a heck of a run, heck of a drive here this evening. We'll get him up here into the booth. And Jacob, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. To get a copy?
Hey, Aaron, I got you.
Jacob, man, what a run, what a drive. We knew coming into this one after seeing your performance there at the Chicago Street Course, how dominant, how fast you were here on these road courses, and starting out in front, you qualified by over a second for that pole position, and right out of the get-go, able to quickly jump on that throttle, keep Alex Pelican back there at bay, and no one was able to find their way around you all evening long. Even during green flag pit stops, you're able to pit, still have a big enough lead that you come back out on the racetrack with a 2-second gap still between yourself and Alex Pelican, who was trying to short pitch you there to try to take that race lead away from you, but no one passing you here today as you're able to be that reflection of perfection, lead all 30 laps and pull this Pop Smoke 22 number 18 ride up and into victory lane here today, man. Take us back through this race and what's going through your mind right now as you get to celebrate here at COTA.
Thanks, Aaron. Yeah, I really enjoy this track, but I tell you, it was a lot of hard work. I practiced pretty hard all week. I wasn't going to sleep on it. I have experience here, in iRacing and stuff, and done lots of races, but I had still going to put in the work. So I think it showed. I was happy about that. My knee, my knee is killing me because I run about as stiff as brake pedals I can get it. So that hurts. But yeah, it was it was kind of a fuel mileage race right off the get-go there. So. And I wasn't sure what strategy he was on. I thought maybe he was gonna be on the one stop like I was. And I was surprised to see him go in and pit early. But yeah, then it was just managing that fuel, making sure that I could hit the numbers so that I only had to make that one stop.
Yeah, absolutely. And you were able to make it obviously there to lap 15 as you come down pit side. You make that one and only pit stop here this evening. Then you had to virtually reenact that same style of racing, and even late in this race as Pelican made his second stop, he was starting to run some very, very good lap times. He was trying to close that gap on you, and all of a sudden you started to lay down even quicker lap times there and laying down the quickest lap of this race, running into the 2-minute and 17-second bracket, man. Just laying down a blazing fast lap time out there. You and Pelican, the only two drivers to be able to hit the 2-minute and teen numbers here this evening. No one else running quicker than a 2-minute and 20-second lap time.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about running a lap time, but when Pelican came out on tires and he ran his lap, well, you get a point for that. So I was thinking, I was like, oh, I don't even know if I have enough fuel to even try that. And I was on 4-lap tires, but I decided that I would give it a go and see where I was at about halfway through the lap and see if it was possible. And I was up on my Delta, so I just kept the lap going, and I was able to get that quick lap and secure that extra bonus point for that.
Absolutely. Extra bonus points secured. Obviously keeping everyone else from leading a lap here today as well. So I do believe getting points for leading a lap and the most laps here. So just a absolutely picture perfect day points wise, and knowing that you'll want to continue to work your way through these point standings and working your way in through these rounds to be able to try and win this championship here this year, man. Obviously last year we knew that you missed one of those final 2 races. Now we have 3 races in the final round. Does that open up your schedule a little bit more, potentially open up the opportunity to potentially still try to go and win this championship again here this year?
Yeah, definitely a minute to win it this year. So I'm just trying to race smart and race hard where, I know I can have an advantage. Like here, I got to put in the work still. So I do that and just try to race smart at the other places that I know some other drivers have more speed than me. So, and a little bit of luck too, never hurts.
Absolutely. A little bit of luck goes a long way, but you didn't need any luck here today as Jacob, you're able to show your dominance here and be that reflection of perfection as you lead all 30 laps and pull this 18 truck up and into victory lane here at COTA, man. Who would you like to thank for such a great run here in the Is It Over Yet 30 presented by Ridge Powersports?
And I'm so glad it is because I hurt. Yeah, I just want to thank my wife because I had to put in some extra practice this week, so she put up with that. I want to thank my teammates for coming out and practice. I thank you and the sponsors, Tech Warrior and Pop Smoke for supporting the truck, and also the league admins for putting up with all of our crap.
Absolutely, brother. Well, Jacob, heck of a run, heck of a drive. Congratulations on picking up the checkered flag here this evening, and we can't wait to see you back up there on the racetrack next Tuesday as another great race, another playoff performance, and we'll have to wait and see if you can get this 18 ride back up and into victory lane.
Yes, sir. Time for some cake. Have a good night, Aaron.
Absolutely, you as well. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for Jacob Groob as Groob picks up the checkered flag here this evening. What a run, what a drive there for that 18 machine. As we'll get ready now to see if we can pull in our second place driver, which I don't think we can because I don't see Alex Pelican in the Discord. So it doesn't look like we'll get Pelican in here. That's a tough break there as don't see anything in here. But unfortunately, yeah, I don't see Alex Pelican still in the Discord. He's not in the general. He's not in the waiting room or in his dialed in racing group. So unfortunately, we can't get Pelican in here, but we can shout out Alex. A solid run, solid effort here all evening long. Alex coming home there in position number 2. The Bucky's Celsius ride having a great run, great drive there. I'm sure he'd love to shout out his teammates there over in the dialed in racing group as the Nathaniel Ostrowiski, Nick Gardner, Zach Michael, all those guys having a pretty solid run all evening long, and obviously having a good time out there on the racetrack, and a solid performance there for Alex. It will come home in position number 2 here today. As we'll get ready now, we do have our third place driver, Brandon Ming, in the chat. Let's see if we can pull Brandon up here into the broadcast booth for his post-race interview. Hey, Brandon, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Do you get a copy?
Hey, I got you. How you doing?
Not too bad, Brandon. Heck of a run, heck of a drive here for you this afternoon, man. Obviously, Jacob Groob, Alex Pelican kind of in a class of their own, and you were able to be the third best driver out there all evening long, up inside the top 2, top 3 here all evening, just hitting your marks, not making too many mistakes out there, and able to drive it home for a solid third place effort here at COTA, man. Take us back through this one and what's kind of going through your mind right now here at the Circuit of the Americas.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, at the end of that thing, I was thinking like I could say third place or I could say class win. Like those two were just so much faster than anybody else out there tonight. And I came into this one after last week getting kind of pinned on the fuel strategy and trapped on a lap down there. Like, all right, I know I'm comfortable on a road course. I'm not great at it, but I'm comfortable in it and I enjoy it, and I need a top 5 this week and challenge myself to do even better and get a top 3, and thankfully was able to do that. Looks like points kind of getting a little bit of a buffer going into Bristol where anything can happen. But it was just really just trying to keep it where you just stay on the track, don't make mistakes. I made one and kind of slid it into the grass there at one point, just kind of lost focus for a second. But I mean, it was just a nice steady run. I'm sure looking at the times, it might not have been the most exciting for you in the booth, but it was a good run. And I like these road course tests. I know it's not necessarily the most entertaining at times, but it's a good challenge. It's a good discipline. And I was glad to see this come up, and glad I could actually, capitalize this time, unlike Chicago earlier this year where I made a big mistake there. So it was a good night for sure.
Absolutely, a very good night points-wise, and obviously just have that good, solid effort, trying to build up that little bit of momentum and everything else going through the rest of these playoffs, trying to hunt down a championship here this year. Now heading from one tough racetrack here at COTA to another tough racetrack at Bristol Motor Speedway. Obviously, totally different aspects of racing. Obviously, this one you're turning left and right, and it's a very, very long racetrack. I don't even know how long this is. I think it's like 3 miles, 3.5 miles, something crazy like that. And now we go to virtually the smallest racetrack in NASCAR at Bristol Motor Speedway, man. How do you kind of change gears and get ready for, another race like that with such high intensity and points and everything else on the line, going from, the totally different racing styles here week after week after week?
It's kind of weird. Like, this weekend, it turned a few laps. I mean, it's a 2.5 minute lap, so you're not turning like 100 laps if you're not sitting here all day. But now you can kind of settle in on Bristol, but you can't, like, as much as you can practice it, you're still kind of at the mercy of what's going on around you because things happen so fast there. So I think a big thing that I noticed a couple people talking about before tonight was you don't want to make a mistake tonight that got you a penalty for next week. And that's almost a death penalty at Bristol. And I mean, it looked like a really clean race. I know into turn one, it felt like it wasn't a typical road course, and maybe that was in the back of people's minds. And I don't know now. It's 20 drivers going for 10 spots, and I don't think there's many people that are out of it or kind of locked in on points at this point. So it's going to be pretty chaotic next week. It's just going to be, I think, kind of similar to tonight in one component where you just got to stay in your own head and not make mistakes, not kind of outdrive yourself or put yourself in a bad position. It's real easy to do at both these tracks, at Austin and at Bristol, and I think that's going to be a carryover to next week for sure.
Absolutely. Well, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be very, very interesting, and it's going to be a great turn of pace here for the broadcast, going from this style of racing into the exciting, fast-paced, short-track action that we always love to watch here on the in NASCAR in real life and here on iRacing as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun for us up in the booth and for, I'm sure, all the fans in the stands. But man, it was still a great run, great effort, and great drive by all night long. Brandon, who would you like to thank for such a great performance here at COTA?
Obviously, you start with the team, the SoCo Motorsports guys. Nathan and Brian. We had, I don't think they love road course racing as much as I do, but they showed up, they did their job, they came in and they turned the laps, and Nate had a solid top 10. I know Brian, kind of a little bit of a struggle tonight after the win last week, but still sitting in a good spot. Thank you for broadcasting this every week. Always appreciate that. Obviously, I thank the league, and also I want to give a shout out to everybody that showed up tonight. I know road courses, especially in the playoffs, like there's a lot of guys that just won't want to show up to a road course. It's not the sexiest kind of racing to a lot of NASCAR fans. And I'm a NASCAR fan too, but it's to most NASCAR fans, it's kind of like, we don't want to do all that. And not only did they show up, but we kind of, as a league, put a challenge out there with the incident rating and 25x getting a pass through. And I mean, we had it 2 years ago where we came here and you were seeing guys with 100x, and now this week the highest was 26, and that's an incredible job by everybody. So shout out to everybody there. And I thought everybody that was kind of getting overtaken, there's a lot of everybody kind of minding their P's and Q's, and everybody did a really nice job. So thankful for all the drivers tonight, because I thought that was an impressive showing when it comes to the discipline of road racing. I thought it was a good night for the league overall.
Absolutely. It was a great day and a great race here for the league and for all you drivers, man. It was a heck of a show, not only by yourself, but Groob and Pelican there, and then obviously everyone back behind you duking it out, trying to race their way forward here and trying to keep themselves safe and secure here and not getting those penalties, like you said, heading into Bristol next week. And we can't wait to see not only yourself, but the rest of the league in action and ready to go to battle and duke it out there for our first elimination race here of these playoffs. And hopefully we'll see you right back up here in the broadcast booth next Tuesday. Maybe you're up here a couple spots better and in victory lane there at Bristol.
That would surprise me, honestly, with my luck at Bristol, but we'll give it our best shot.
Absolutely. Well, we look forward to seeing it. Brandon, congrats on the third place run here tonight, my boy, and hopefully we'll see you right back out there and up here in the booth next week.
I appreciate it. Have a good night.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our third place finisher here this evening, Brandon Deming coming home here in position number 3. Solid run, solid drive all evening long for that 77 ride, able to bring it home in position number 3. Honestly, class of the field up there, Jacob Grube and Alex Pelican, they were kind of in their own time zone, their own area codes here this evening when it comes to, the speed and the ability that they have here at these road courses, and for everyone else just battling out amongst themselves. Honestly, for Brandon Ming, that's almost got to feel like a win, keeping everyone else back there behind them, except for those two, as they were kind of in their own race out there on the speedway, and Deming able to keep everyone else back there at bay. He may feel like the real winner of this one, coming home in position number 3. But listen, we can't thank you guys enough for tuning in. Everyone coming in, showing the love with the likes, the comments, the shares. We appreciate each and every single one of you, and we will see you guys back up here in the booth tomorrow night as we head back to the dirt track for a little bit more of the dirt track racing here with the always amazing Dirt Warrior Racing League. And we'll see you guys right back up here in the booth, and hopefully we'll see you out there in the grandstands cheering on those drivers. But listen, thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for tuning in, and we'll see y'all in the next one. Peace and love, baby. Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! Man, what a run, what a race, what a show. That was a heck of a show, man. That was a lot of fun, and we can't wait for the next one.
Friends for Peds!
Trucks flying through the night, NASCAR dreams within our sight. Asphalt heroes in the fight, peacemakers gaining light so bright. Revving it up, feel the pace, speed hounds in the race. Feel the thrill, feel the chase, victory is our holy place. Throttle down, no time to waste, in this high-octane haste. Every corner, every taste leads us closer to first place. Under lights, the engines scream, this is more than just a dream. Through the asphalt like a beam, racers' hearts with fervor gleam. In this game we find our might, push the pedal like the night. With each lap our spirits flight, racing on with all our might. Trucks flying through the night, NASCAR dreams within our sight. Asphalt heroes in the fight, peacemakers gaining light so bright. Revving it up, feel the pace, speed hounds in the race. Feel the thrill, feel the chase, victory is our holy place. Thrill the place, thrill the place. Throttle down, no time to waste, in this high-octane haste. Feel the thrill, feel the chase, victory is our holy place. Throttle down, no time to waste, in this high-octane haste. Every corner, every taste leads us closer to first place. Throttle down, no time to waste, in this high-octane haste. In this high-octane haste, every corner, every taste leads us closer to first place. Under lights, the engines scream, this is more than just a dream. Through the asphalt like a beam, racers' hearts with fervor gleam. In this game we find our might, push the pedal like the night. With each lap our spirits flight, racing on with all our might.